Hello, I'm Todd Stubendek, State Director for AARP Nebraska. Thank you for joining us for this special Facebook Live event. AARP has been working to promote the health and well-being of older Americans for more than 60 years through information, advocacy, and resources. Part of that includes helping to improve the places that we live so we can thrive no matter one's age, ability, or background. We all want places where there are transportation options. Housing is affordable and works for our needs as we age. There's access to the outdoors, and there are ways to stay connected with loved ones and neighbors. Ultimately, our vision is for a future in which all communities, urban, suburban, and rural, are all great places to live. AARP is doing this work nationwide, including right here in Nebraska. Today, we're talking to one of the 3 Nebraska organizations that are receiving grants through the AARP Community Challenge, our Livable Communities Grant Program. These are a part of a total of $2.4 million being awarded among 184 grantees across the country. Wayne Mortensen and Pat Anderson-Cifuentes join us today from NeighborWorks Lincoln. Welcome, Wayne and Pat, and thanks for being here.
Thanks
Todd.
for having us.
Very good. We're going to go ahead and jump in and have some questions about your organization and then also about what you're going to do with the Community Challenge Grant Award. First of all, tell us a little bit about NeighborWorks.
Yeah, no, NeighborWorks is an organization that's founded in 1986. So next year will be our 35th anniversary, and we have a very community-oriented mission. We do 3 things really. One is homebuyer education, in which we get normal working class folks around Lincoln through a 10-hour curriculum on how to be a homeowner and what to think about as they're preparing for that step in their lives, which I think many of your members have either gone through or know firsthand. And the second part is, and that also includes HUD counseling. And so they're able to put monthly budgets together and understand how much house they can afford. And the combination of all of that education and preparation has resulted in our homeowners having less than a 0.1% foreclosure rate. And so they're not only good homeowners, they're not only good lenders or borrowers, but they're also good neighbors at that point. And we're really proud of that role that we play. We put several hundred people through that in normal times. And hopefully we'll be getting back to normal times again soon to resume those in-class, in-person classes. The second thing we do is real estate development, which is obviously constructing homes. And so we'll build anywhere from 8 to 12 single family units a year. And then we'll rehabilitate anywhere from 50 to 80 additional units. And so, you can extrapolate the impact there is, about 90 homes around Lincoln and all the neighborhoods that are getting improved or built from scratch. In neighborhoods and on streets that many of them need the investment. So it has ripple effects in the neighborhoods in which these investments are made. And then the third is I think the best segue to my colleague Pat here is our community building and engagement work, in which we're literally working with neighborhoods, helping them organize, helping them build their capacity, and ultimately helping them determine their own futures as groups of residents invested collectively in a place. But I'll let Pat finish the definition for that line of business.
Actually, the whole operation starts and ends, I believe, with community building, because community builders are in the neighborhoods. So we have an opportunity to talk to people, to educate them about our homebuyer classes and the rehab. We don't have rehab for everyone right now. It's with our homebuyers, but occasionally there are opportunities, and also finding those houses those neglected vacant houses that are done with their life cycle and need to be torn down and something new built in its place, that are causing those vacant houses that are causing problems in the for the rest of the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. We're there to find out where those are, and as we work with residents. So
yeah, those changes can really change a neighborhood in a positive way, I'm sure. Do you operate just in Lincoln, or are other places in Nebraska as well?
So there's 3 NeighborWorks organizations, but our organization is exclusively committed to the city of Lincoln.
Perfect. Thank you. So, okay. So the AARP Community Challenge Grant is for a little over $24,000 and involves improving a community garden in Lincoln. Can you tell us more about the project and what your plans are for that?
Yeah, NeighborWorks, we got involved with gardening projects and we work a lot with community crops for several reasons. It builds community, but also if you're familiar with the mapping that Community Health Endowment does, there's a strip that goes straight up 27th Street over to Havelock that is, at one time they called it a food desert. Now I think they call it a challenged area because there are not a lot of larger grocery stores. There may be a lot of very small ethnic corner markets, but those are limited on how much they can offer, especially as far as produce. So we want to encourage people to garden. We also work in the oldest neighborhoods, primarily around the core of Lincoln. So those neighborhoods tend to have a lot of refugees, a lot of diversity, and we often say that refugees are going to be our next farmers because they're not so removed from the whole food production process. They remember they know what it's like to grow food. They know how to grow food.
Yep. So this project is around 14th and D in Lincoln. Tell me a little bit about that neighborhood, and again, sort of what what you're looking to do with that community garden.
That is the site of what had been a 4-story apartment building. It had been vacant for 10 years and the source of a lot of problems. People were constantly breaking in and squatting in there and setting fires, destroying the place. It was a big problem. So eventually NeighborWorks became the owner. We tore it down, and it's on a block where Centerpoint sits. And Centerpoint has plans to move. So we're not sure what's going to happen with that block. So in the meantime, we thought, why not put a community garden there? Because that is an area where a lot of it's 97% rental. A lot of people don't own cars. Their main grocery store is Little Guerreros at 11th and G. So the produce is not, while they really try to stock produce, it's not real plentiful. So we wanted to open up the garden for locals to be able to garden if they wanted to.
Yeah, the neighborhood also is one of the few majority renter neighborhoods in the community, in the city, actually, Todd. And so establishing a sense of community is going to be really important to their ultimate success there in south of downtown. And I think we've got a situation here where it's a highly visible lot. It wasn't immediately redevelopable. And the idea was to really give something to the community and to the neighborhood, and that would help us facilitate more social capital development in the meantime. And your grant has really allowed for that to be the case.
Great. So one of the great things about the Community Challenge Grant, even though it's an AARP product, it is not designed just for people over the age of 50. But I am curious, what do you think the advantages are, the benefits of this will be to that our demographic, the people age 50 plus?
Yeah, gardens have such an intergenerational quality. I think the number one benefit is that residents under the age of 12, which there are many in the neighborhood, will get to interact casually and indirectly, and the benefits of kind of simultaneous recreation and socialization, not necessarily collaborative, but the opportunity there is really significant for the young people in the neighborhood to be better grounded in the history of the place and with the residents that have been there longer, in order to feel a more sense of connectedness and kinship with their neighbors and with the community as a whole, as well as providing a safe outdoor space where hobby gardeners to advanced gardeners, all the way in between, can kind of live out one of their passions, where they might not be able to in a kind of renter neighborhood that we're talking about.
One of the
We
things I
have the
remember.
advantage.
Go
Can I
ahead,
add
Pat.
to that?
Yeah, go ahead.
We have the advantage of having F Street Community Center just a few blocks away, and they have programming during the day for seniors, and then of course after school for youth, and then they have camps during the summer for youth. And while it didn't work out this year with COVID, we have people in this senior program that are interested in having a garden plot, but we also have youth groups that there's a leadership youth group that has been run through they just started it this last summer for the first time. And they did come over and they helped us plant. And we have plans next year to strengthen that tie. So they're going to have their own box, and F Street will have their own box. So
that's good. I love the intergenerational notion of this. That is, I think, so important, and a real centerpiece of AARP's programming is finding ways to create those intergenerational links. It's important for both ends of the spectrums to learn from each other.
Intergenerational and multicultural as well.
Well, that was you mentioned refugees, and I remember in reading the application discussion of the Karen community that is predominant in this area. Could you talk a little bit about that community and sort of any plans that you have to outreach to them? Yes,
the previously in working with Everett School, which is nearby, there's a fairly large Korean population, also Arabic and Vietnamese, Sudanese, but the Korean population especially is larger. And Community Crops currently has a Korean focused garden where it's all Korean. But if you look at the names on many of the Community Crops gardens, there's a lot of Korean people gardening. And the first summer we put the garden in, we didn't have nearly as many boxes there, but there were youth from the Lincoln High, Korean students that worked with the Asian Center, and they attended Lincoln High, and they put in the first garden. And we were hoping to have an intergenerational tie with the Asian Center and the Korean population this year. But, when we were planning it, that was about the time COVID was breaking out, and it just
COVID messed up most things this year, hasn't it? So
yeah, it did.
Fingers crossed the next year will be better, and we'll able to do more of those sort of things we want to do. So absolutely. Yes.
And it's worth pointing out that I think not everybody's familiar with the Korean population. It's an Asian culture in Thailand and Myanmar mostly, and Lincoln's fortunate to have several Korean practicing families that have joined our city, and resources like this garden are really important to help them acculturate and make connections to their neighbors.
That's great.
And grow the food they want to eat.
Yes.
And maybe introduce the rest of us to some new produce as well.
Yeah,
so.
Actually, my Korean neighbors have. She doesn't speak English, but she came over and she really wanted I garden in the public right away, so she wanted some of my hot Thai peppers.
Mm-hmm.
I said, sure, go ahead, pick as many as you want. And she comes back with a squash I've never seen before.
That's the great thing about refugees. We're learning from each other. It's terrific, the melting pot part of it.
Yeah.
One of the things I love about the AARP Community Challenge Grant Program is that it's fast acting. The money is awarded, and with the notion that the project will move quickly and it's not something that gets extended out. So how soon will the project be completed at the garden? What's your time frame?
We're hoping by December 1. I'm still getting bids on the arbor entrance.
Mm-hmm.
We know that we probably will not get the we have a lot of plantings that we wanted to get in, and that probably, we're going to prep the soil, but the plantings probably won't happen until spring.
Yes.
But we have, for that corner, everything we've done on that corner, it was a vacant lot for quite a while, and it just collected trash. I heard probably not positive things were happening on that corner. And as we put the garden boxes in, and then in this last year, we added garden boxes, and we'll still add a few more for next year. Everything we do on that corner that is positive has a domino effect in the rest of the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been really good. People walk by all the time and say how glad they are to have the garden there, and it's so much better to have something growing there. Even though when I invite them to come and pick a produce or garden, I'm amazed at how many people say they don't eat vegetables.
Well, this is one of my questions, and Wayne, maybe you can expound on that. That sort of, what is the larger impact of a project like this and a garden like this in a neighborhood?
Sure. Well, it's worth reiterating that it's not an easy thing, and it's not a switch that you flip, right? It's a hard and kind of arduous task at times to build a community, and Pat is uniquely suited for this work. And the AARP money will help us take the garden from a very humble place to a very welcoming and inspiring place to do this work. But it will actually be the delta between the first year of operation and the second that AARP will help us. And so we'll even be able to provide some before and after observations for you all. The larger impact is that it's a catalytic effect. The investment in a piece of vacant land, especially one that's as highly visible as this one, is that people begin to take more pride in their place. You'll see reinvestment in property, in owner-occupied homes is probably the easiest one to see. You'll see property values stabilize or go up at a higher rate than they were prior because of the lack of this blighted structure and this unutilized piece of vacant land. And you'll see more street life, I think, are the big metrics. People are more comfortable walking in places where there are other people out and about, and this garden will bring more activity to the environment and to the outdoors in the neighborhood, and really provide for opportunities for further engagement. So I think those are some of the spin-off effects that the neighbors will see and that we'll be able to share with AARP after implementation is complete.
Well, I'm excited about it, and again, COVID has ruined lots of plans this year, but I'm hopeful that next year, as we get back to normal, that perhaps our next Facebook Live can be from the garden itself, and we can show people what it is. And I'm excited to go visit and be a part of it as it goes forward. I hope that AARP can be a part of the project and the garden itself moving forward.
That'll be great. We can figure out together what the digital equivalent of getting your hands dirty means.
Exactly.
Well, that mentioned, we do have a cleanup of the garden scheduled for November 7th.
Okay, very good.
2 to 4. Everyone welcome.
Mask distancing observed.
I was going to say, if people are looking for more information, where can they go to find that?
Our social media, Facebook, Twitter, and the website, nwlincoln.org.
Perfect.
Also, Community Crops is already taking names of people. That garden is going to be reserved for people who live nearby in the area. So they're already taking names for next year.
Perfect. Okay, so my final question is, I want you guys to have the chance to plug NeighborWorks. Where in general should people go to find out more information about NeighborWorks, and what do you want people to know about your organization?
It's a really important organization for Lincoln. Lincoln is doing very well economically, relatively speaking, compared to its peer cities around the country. Unemployment's very low, and so that means the real estate market's very good, actually, in Lincoln, which means affordable housing is harder and harder to come by. People are being displaced and not allowed to kind of live in the neighborhoods that they see themselves occupying. And so what we do is we try to preserve affordability throughout the community and invest in the neighborhoods that need the investment. So we welcome at any point inquiries of interest or commitment or partnership. They can reach us on our website, which was previously posted at nwlincoln.org. Our annual fundraiser and breakfast, really it's a chance for the community to come together to celebrate the work that we do. Fundraiser optional. It's December 10th. And that'll be a digital event this year, and that will also be shared on all of our social media. So December 10th at 9 a.m. is what we call the opening doors breakfast, and it allows people to really connect with the mission of the organization and see what we do on an annual basis. We really appreciate and are deeply sympathetic, empathetic to the cause that AARP has and the source of this money, and the grant will allow us to really advance our work in community building and engagement in this really important Lincoln neighborhood. And so we thank you and all of your members for making it possible.
Well, we appreciate that. I'm personally very excited about the project. I'm also very excited about the possibilities for future partnerships between AARP Nebraska and NeighborWorks Lincoln. Appreciate all that you do in the community, and again, I think our goals align with our livable communities work and the work that you guys are doing every day. So I appreciate that. So again, any final words for our audience?
No, we appreciate the grant. Mucho.
Very good. Thank you both for joining us. To learn more about this Community Challenge project and the other ones across the country, you can visit AARP's Livable Communities website at aarp.org/community challenge. Or for more information on AARP, you can visit our website, which is states.aarp.org/Nebraska. Again, thank you, Pat and Wayne, for joining us, and thanks everyone for watching. Take care. Stay safe.
Guys, very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.